Arfield, 1-0 Burnley. Scott Arfield, he's been threatening that recently, and all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. Here's Rory now. On the outside, decent.
Barnes! He got it! Ashley Barnes with it! What a cross from Rory! And there was Ashley Barnes! And Burnley leading the derby.
Knocks it quickly. Finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell. Saved by the keeper!
Burnley won it to the end! That is magnificent! They deserve that!
On by Paul Teller. On for a hat-trick.
He's got it! Hat-trick for Nathan Teller! Oh, he's on fire at the minute! 3-0 Burnley! It's Nathan Teller's day!
And Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby. Here's Benson. Can he go on the outside? Comes inside. Top shot.
Oh, the goal! Manuel Benson once more! That is top class!
Burnley have done it. Fantastic. Clarence deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello everyone and welcome along to the latest instalments of the Turfcast podcast pre-game show with me, Joe Redmond, ahead of Burnley's trip to the London Stadium Saturday at 3 p.m. to face West Ham United, a team that is below us. And as everybody watching this channel knows, we have done very well against the teams in and around us this season. Well, not just in and around us, obviously we beat Sunderland as well. I know they're another promoted club, but they've had a great start to the season. So hopefully we can continue that at the weekend when we go down to the London Stadium. But as always on the pre-game show, I have a chat with a fan of the opposition, and I'm pleased to introduce Will, a friend of mine, and you will recognise him as being on this show quite a lot from the West Ham Way. How you doing, mate?
Hello, mate. It's the We Are West Ham podcast. I can't believe
We
it.
Are West Ham. I've done that to you before. I'm sure I have.
You have done
I'm
it
sure
to
I
me
have.
before.
I've done it to you. There's a Wolves guy as well that I've done it to him once, and his face dropped. At least you took it home. I've even written it down here. We Are West Ham. I've written it down there as well. Off to a great start.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, there's not many things that have been a worse start to this podcast, but West Ham's season was a worse start than what this podcast has been. So talk to me through the start to your season, mate. See how I saved it then.
Yeah, absolutely great, mate. Yeah. I mean, the sort of the baffling thing about all of it, mate, is that you were just on mine. So
yeah, I don't remember. Mate, I've had a blow to head.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, fair enough. I'll forgive you, mate. Don't worry about it. It's been rubbish, really. West Ham have been rubbish for ages now, 18 months. I didn't want David Moyes to go. That makes
it took
me
you 3 minutes, 20 seconds to get that in, by the way.
Well, it's just so difficult to sort of put into words. Excuse me. How deeply the apathy has set in among West Ham fans, to be quite honest. And again, I never wanted David Moyes to go in the first place. What has happened, I kind of foresaw happening. And it's one of the most annoying things to be right about.
I think so many. I was thinking that it'd be stupid to get rid of him. You'll end up battling relegation, and eventually you'll just fall. And it was just it was such a bizarre decision.
We've spoken just now on my pod, mate, about you were saying sort of about Burnley and the pockets of fans who are like the loud minority. The people who wanted David Moyes out get annoyed if you call them the minority, because they were in reasonably significant numbers. They certainly weren't the majority, but they were certainly loud. And David Sullivan, his many foibles that he's got, and he's not a popular man among the West Ham fans, particularly at the moment. One of my main criticisms of him, which is not one that those who really hate him agree with, but one of my main criticisms with him is I think he listens to fans almost to his detriment. He is almost like a football fan playing Football Manager, but in real life, and whereby he listens to the fans too often. And I think he needed to be brave. If any reputable owner or reasonable owner, I think needed to be brave at the end of Moyes' tenure and go, no, this is the best manager we have ever had. in the sort of modern era. And no, we're keeping him. We've been in Europe. We've just come 9th. We got the best ever points total at the first half of a Premier League season we've ever got. All right, the style of play is not good and the squad's aging, but if ever there's a man I've got faith in to rebuild the squad and go again, it's David Moyes. So no, absolutely not. But he didn't do that. He listened to the fans. And again, the fans who sort of easy to want David Moyes out seem to forget that they have no faith in David Sullivan's ability to be a director of football, which is what he deems to be as well as the actual owner. And they sort of all of a sudden like find from somewhere this faith that, all right, we'll get rid of David Moyes, but then David Sullivan will definitely make the right appointment and it will all go swimmingly after that. There's only one, the only way is up. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And obviously Lopetegui, terrible appointment, absolutely woeful football. Graham Potter wasn't the right fit. And I think, again, I'm sort of glad. It's annoying it happened at West Ham. I'm kind of glad in a way. I never really rated him. And I'm glad he's just another manager who was made to look good by the excellent way that Brighton are run. And a lot of that's just PR, I think. He had lots of barren spells at Brighton. Goalless spells and winless spells, blah, blah, blah. But they're a more patient fan base and it's never as newsworthy. You don't get that time at West Ham. You've got to manage the massive and demanding fan base. You've got to manage upwards, and the chaos that comes with working for a club run by David Sullivan. It's just been a total shambles, a total train wreck ever since then, really, Joe. And I'm just depressed and totally apathetic and bored of it all. And I think a change is definitely needed. I think the sad thing is now that it's kind of like it's sort of seeped into all West Ham fans a bit, and just a bit of the passion. Something's died about the club, definitely, and just a bit of the passion and the spirit among the fan base has gone as well. And it's an accumulation of all things, including the stadium, which no one is a particular fan of. And it's bleeding into even the most stalwart fans like me, where it's just something's died and something's gone. And it's sad, really, and you sort of struggle to see if and when we ever get that back. It feels a bit more like sort of late stages Newcastle under Mike Ashley. The only difference here being that it doesn't look like our owner has got any intention to sell.
Yeah, you can definitely hear sort of like like you mentioned it already, the apathy in your voice and the pain in your voice, if you will. I don't want to be dramatic, but
no, it's a bit like that. Yeah,
but it reminds me of Burnley a couple of seasons ago with that when you said you're just fed up. Like obviously we spoke about it on your podcast already about how awful we were in the Premier League under Vincent Kompany. It was getting towards like January, February, March. It's cold, it's dark, and you're thinking, can I really be bothered to go on the turf again? Like I sometimes would sit here and be like, I might not go on tomorrow. We're going to be 3-0 down after 15 minutes against Palace. Like, can I really be bothered with that? I would always go on in the end, but I shouldn't be sitting there after paying, 550 quid for a season ticket, whatever it is, whether I'm going to go on the game. So it's interesting that you talk like that, and I do have a bit of sympathy for you on that, football fan to football fan. Obviously, I hope we heap more misery on you on Saturday, but other than that, you then do well not to Burnley's detriment. You mentioned Graham Potter already there, and I know you spoke about Potter at length, but I do want to talk about him as well a little bit more. You made it sound out like then that you did feel like it was the right time to sack Potter. I mean, the hilarious thing was obviously the face swaps online. That was gold. I loved that. But it genuinely felt like there was no way back for him, like with the noise that was coming from the fans.
No, as funny as that was, I just miss us being a serious football club, mate. David Moyes made us a serious football club for a few years where we actually played properly and made it hard to beat. I mean, even domestically as well, we did really well. And again, Potter just come in. The same with Lopetegui. I'm sick and tired of seeing opposition teams just play a game of football in third gear and get 3 points. No worries. It's just like the old days, like that for so long in my life, where I've never minded if West Ham get beaten by some brilliant football. If someone scores a screamer or it's an excellent move, or even if they defend resolutely and don't let you get a sniff. If you watch and the other team are just better than you at football and they're really good, you kind of go, all right, fair enough, hats off, like no worries. if all they have to do is just do a bit of passing and a bit of basic heading and tackling, and you just hand them goals on a plate, it's not fun. Like, it's not fun. You don't have any, plenty to Leeds the other night. I mean, God, went all the way up to Ellen Road, which is a flipping long way away from where I live in London.
Yeah.
And it was just that they did nothing remarkable. Like, they were just all right. They just turned up and did the things you'd expect any Premier League football team to do. And Graham Potter changed none of that, really. He come in and he put some square pegs in some square holes after Lopetegui made some of the most baffling football decisions I've ever seen. And then Potter come in, made it slightly better for a bit, but he's just too much of a wet lettuce. And I think the club's so chaotic. Like, and I said it at the time, I keep banging on about it. I said time will make the sort of like time will serve David Moyes' legacy and do it loads of favours. The more time goes on, the more people will realise what a remarkable thing it was for David Moyes to do what he did at West Ham. And because it's just Potter didn't have it. You need a bit of character and a bit of personality to manage the fan base, to manage upwards, as I've already discussed. He was just, and again, it's just tactical ineptitude. The recruitment's been poor for ages anyway. The Tim Stuyton, director of football, was a total experiment, was a total debacle. They spent loads of money on Julian Lopetegui players. Again, just convinced that this new era would be nothing but sunshine and glory. Spent loads of money on Lopetegui players. So Potter did come in and inherit loads of them, and then was a bit hamstrung spending wise. But again, it's this new era of football we live in, Joe, where it's like people seem to forget that a football manager's job is to win football matches with the players that he's got. And I said the same thing to you about like the Vincent Kompany syndrome, where I feel like he sort of used Burnley as an advertising board for his style of football, and that was more important to him than keeping Burnley in the Premier League. It's like, that's what you've got to do, Graham. I don't give a stuff what your philosophy is or how you think football should be played. That's your squad of 17 players. Your job is to get West Ham into the top half of the Premier League table and back into Europe and all that sort of stuff. I'm just absolutely sick of it. I just want to see West Ham do some normal football stuff. Like, just defenders defend, midfielders run about, put tackles in, link play up, and strikers put the ball in the back of the net. That's all I want to see. And no, Graham Potter wasn't doing that. Good riddance to him. He didn't have the character. And I think everyone in football kind of knows now that, yeah, Brighton made him look good. He couldn't handle it at Chelsea, albeit it was a weird time. And West Ham was kind of the ultimate litmus test for him, really, to see which side of the coin it was. Was it just Chelsea was bad, made him look bad, or was it Brighton made him look good? I think everyone could tell now Brighton made him look good. So, no, good riddance.
Yeah, fair enough. Stick with managers, though. Obviously, Nuno's coming now. Been there just over a month. We're on the 4th of November now. He went in late September, didn't he? If I remember rightly. Yep. How do you feel about Nuno? Is he kicking on enough for you?
Mate, brilliant appointment. Really like it. Again, total apathy around the club. I'm not one of those who believes that one man can change the fortunes of an entire football club, i.e. the man in the dugout. Particularly in the modern era that we live in, it needs the whole machine pulling in the right direction. But as much as a manager can do, and given the current chaotic setup, and the owners, etc., I think that is exactly the style of manager we need. That pragmatic style of football. I think it's very rare in football these days to sign a manager who hasn't been sacked from his last job for being rubbish. He's been sacked because the owner was, has got a very erratic, wild way of doing stuff, and he basically just had a big bust up with him. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I forgot we're not on mine. I don't worry if we get sued or not. But exactly that. So I think what he did at Forest was absolutely remarkable. It just kind of mirrored, really, what David Moyes did at West Ham. Get a historically a club who, certainly in recent history, obviously not historically, Forest got a very good European pedigree, but in recent history have been sort of struggler, second tier of football, didn't rip up trees when they were in the top flight really either. Nuno comes along, obviously in line with Marinakis early, but getting them into Europe again, it's a wonderful, remarkable achievement. So I'm delighted. I think it's really good. I still think, again, the squad is awful. And so, yeah, it's again, play. You've got a difficult hand to play there, mate. But, I think if anyone's going to do it or do anything, it's going to be him. But yeah, there's so much wrong with the club that needs changing before we can expect to be back in Europe again. I just hope sort of he sticks around long enough to sort of see some of the change if it even happens.
Yeah, well, in typical Burnley fashion, obviously Nuno got his first win in the Premier League as West Ham boss last time out when you played Newcastle, beat them quite convincingly as well. 3-1, 3-0.
Yeah, 3-1, yeah.
Yeah, thought it were. Do you feel like that's a turning point now? Do you feel like you guys can kick on and start pulling away? Obviously, your face there suggests otherwise.
Hard, really. We had in his first game, went to Everton, became the first team to score at the new stadium. Got a 1-1 draw. Excellent performance with a better team in the second half, could have won. Then went to Arsenal away, lost 2-0, and didn't disgrace ourselves. Plenty of teams. Well, you literally lost 2-0 at Arsenal, didn't you?
Yeah.
So we did the same thing. No disgrace that, and then it just went weird. He was making some absolutely baffling decisions, and we put in two of the worst performances I've seen a West Ham team put in defeats to Brentford and Leeds off the back of that. So I was absolutely stunned that we won at the weekend. I was at a golf weekend at the Belfry, so I didn't actually go to the game. Obviously watched it back, and my co-host James was there. He said it was very professional. I don't think it's hard to say a turning point, mate, because that sort of suggests that we will go on and do something sort of impressive this season and link a few wins together. I think it will very much be a pattern of we win 1 in 4 until the end of the season, and then maybe nick a couple of draws along the way. I just think it's like turning a juggernaut round at the moment. I just think there's so much to do.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's hard to sort of look at it and go, oh yeah, we're going to go on an absolute rip snorting run from here.
What's your aims for the season then, based on that? I presume it's just a case of making sure you survive at this stage.
It's so bleak. It's so bleak. Honestly, watching West Ham in Europe were the best days of my life. That was only that wasn't even that long ago, mate. It was 3 years, if that. Oh, dear, oh dear. So depressing. No, it wasn't even 3 years. Literally like 13 months ago, I think David Moyes got sacked. That seems a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it does.
So it's just so bleak to me now. I'm so angry that, that's the terms in which we're talking. But yeah, I don't really care in the league. Honestly, I really don't care. Who cares if you come 14th or 16th? I really don't care. We limped out the League Cup in embarrassing fashion away at Wolves. We're not in Europe. We'll get drawn away at Manchester United, as we always do in the FA Cup third round. Lose that. Honestly, mate, I don't know. Yeah, stay up, obviously, is the aim. I reckon we'll have to spend money in January if we're going to do that big time. But I think we will. David Sullivan's not stupid enough to not do that. And that's kind of the cycle under him at West Ham, is like, wait till we get in loads of trouble, spend loads of money, change the manager, try and get out of it and then sort of reset the cycle again when the fans get bored. So, yeah, stay up. We're not going to win the FA Cup. Get the season done now, mate, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'll end it now if you want, mate. We'll stick Leeds in the relegation zone, take you guys out of it. I'll end it now. I'm happy to do that.
Exactly.
Focusing more on the game then at the weekend. How do you think you're going to set up? How do you think you're going to approach it? Obviously, you're at home against a newly promoted side. I would expect for you to come for Burnley, to attack Burnley. Is that what you're going to expect West Ham to do?
Yes and no. I think it will be. I think obviously went 1-0 down to Newcastle at the weekend, came back to 2-1, and then just resolutely defended for the second half. And then Souček got the sort of late one with the cherry on the cake goal right at the end. Freddie Potts will definitely start. Young guy from our youth academy. Naturally, West Ham fans are already saying he's the next Declan Rice because he had one good game in his Premier League debut. Did win man of the match, to be fair. He will definitely start. Thomas Souček will not. Fernandes will start alongside him. They've got a bit of energy and legs, which have been severely lacking in midfield. Diouf will start at left back, probably Wan-Bissaka started at right back. So it'll actually be 4 at the back, which would be nice. 4-2-3-1. Lucas Paqueta, Somerville, and Bowen behind. Callum Wilson started at the weekend, didn't tear any trees up, but the story's coming out today. Fulkrug wants to leave. He's still injured.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yet another in the long line of strikers that hasn't worked out at West Ham. And Callum Wilson will probably play up front because we haven't got anyone else. So, yeah, I imagine Areola in goal, Todibo, Kilman at the back. Will be the team.
Yeah, it's a team. When you mention some of your players there, it is a team that has bags of quality, and it does worry me a little bit. How are you in the position that you're in then? Obviously, I know you mentioned the owners and stuff like that. When you look at that squad and the quality that you have, how are you in the position that you're in?
Defense are awful. Tactics have been wild for ages. Confidence is a bit low, but mainly the defense being terrible. Like and we didn't have any legs in midfield, so there was no like transition either. When on the odd occasion our defenders did actually keep the ball out of the goal and defend and then try and pass it to some of our midfielders. It was Andy Irving, who many fans will refer to as a competition winner, and Thomas Souček, who again an absolute legend of the club, who I and lots of fans love and deserves all of our respect, but he needs to play in a certain system, and that isn't one that requires him to do all the running. So Bowen, Somerville, and Paqueta. Paqueta, again, when he can be bothered.
Them three.
But Bowen and Somerville are our 2 best players by a mile. Paqueta is talented, but when he can be bothered. But we just couldn't get the ball to them is the problem. It's the sort of back 7 who are woeful. Kilman and Todibo. I mean, they had a good game on the weekend, but they have been truly dreadful. Aaron Wan-Bissaka somehow won Player of the Year last year, and the biggest robbery from Jared Bowen ever. But he's just overrated as well. Diouf is really good at crossing, so everyone thinks he's going to win the Ballon d'Or, but he's a left back, and no one seems to care that he can't actually defend. It's just handing opponents goals, mate, and not being able to get the ball to our only real talented players who were the forwards.
Fair enough. Obviously, we are recording this quite early in the week. It's Tuesday as we are speaking. Yep. Obviously, we'll be releasing the podcast later in the week. So we haven't had a chance to listen to the pre-match press conferences or anything yet. But is there any injuries and suspensions that you're aware of at West Ham that could affect this match?
Oh, that's a good question. I should know that, but no. In fact, I may have just reeled off the team then without actually being aware that some of our players may be injured or suspended. But no, I don't think so. Not off the top of my head anyway.
Fair enough. But like I said, we are doing it quite early, so it's difficult. Burnley, I've had an issue with Lyle Foster recently, who was ill at the weekend, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. I think Esteve picked up a knock, but he will be okay. I think, again, I'm just guesswork because it's far too early in the week. Yeah. Predictions then, mate. What score predictions have you got for this one?
Well, I've been very, very impressed with Burnley this season. I think, like we've mentioned, you've sort of looked resolute, beating the teams that you'd expect to be around you, and us, I suppose, and Sunderland. So no, I'm not going into this one with bags of confidence at all. You're away. Scott Parker will sort of feel a little bit more of a license to sort of hold on for a point, I suppose, as you've done against or sort of certainly given a good go of against some of the bigger teams this year. So I'm not particularly confident at all. I reckon it could be a 1-1 draw, which, although will disappoint lots of West Ham fans, again, obviously, really, what we need to win if we've got any chance of doing anything at all this season, particularly staying up. But yeah, I could see it being 1-1, to be honest.
I'd rip your hand right off now for a 1-1 draw. That keeps you 3 points underneath us. Obviously, if you beat us, I think it's 3-0, and you go above us on goal difference. Obviously, the goal difference swing. I think for me, we need to be keeping the gap at 3 points. So I will take a draw. You mentioned that depressingly, your aim for the season is now staying up. For us,
actually, sorry, if we beat you 2-0. Then we go above you. How exciting! Yeah, because we'll go level goal difference, and then we'll be above you on goals for. Oh, actually, I don't know. No, you might be right, actually. Sorry, it's all a bit complicated. Who cares anyway? We're not going to win. Go on, mate.
I was just going to say, like, obviously, you've said depressingly your aim for the season is now staying up. That was our aim for the season when we came up anyway, as it was for all three promoted sides. Sunderland can now probably reassess. But for us and Leeds, it is a case of just finishing 17th. Who do you think goes down? I think we both agreed on your show that Wolves are gone. Then obviously there's yourselves, us, Brentford are still in it. I think they could get dragged back into it. There's obviously Forest, Leeds. Is there anyone else really? Fulham have got a good win at the weekend. Newcastle, weirdly enough, I'm just saying that because they're down there at the minute and they can't seem to kick on. They're obviously not going to go down, but they're in the conversation at the minute. So who goes down then?
I think definitely Wolves. I think this is too much to come back from where they're at. I think Wolves go. I actually think it's going to be a really, really interesting relegation battle for a change because of all of those teams. I can't really see. I think I watched Forest against Porto. I was at the Forest Porto game in the Europa League the other night. Dyche's first home game there. They played really well, looks really good, got a decent win. I think he'll make him a bit more resolute. I fancy Nuno doing the same for us. As I've said, I already sort of admire the games you've given to teams so far this season. Leeds looked perfectly fine. I think they won't have enough against lots of teams to get wins. So I wouldn't be stunned if it was Leeds. Fulham, I don't know. I just fancy they'll be good enough. I think the game against Wolves at the weekend. But again, I honestly think it could be West Ham, unless we need to spend big in January. But I still think we'll do that and stay up. So I suppose, it's really, really difficult. I think maybe Leeds, but again, really, really hard to call. I think it will genuinely be exciting. And you could see at the end of the season, it being within, it's going to be like a goal difference job between maybe like 3 or 4 teams. But I fancy Newcastle. I'll have enough. I fancy Everton will as well.
Everton as well,
Even Brentford, I feel like they're just coming together. So
Brentford have frustrated me. They were one of the teams that I were like, right, they could finish underneath us. New manager come in, lost loads of players. Next thing you know, just long throws and it's going in and they're winning games like against big clubs. It's like, how are you managing that? Like, we couldn't buy you in last time in the Prem, and now they're doing it so easily.
Exactly.
But we'll wrap it up there, mate, because we are pushing half an hour. Before I do wrap it up, I always let everybody say and let everyone know where they can find your podcast. So due to my incredibly massive cock up at the start of the show, you can get as long as you want. You can put links in the description. You can get a banner out behind you, mate. Tell everyone where they can find you, please.
Search the correct podcast name first of all, which is the We Are West Ham podcast. Get us on YouTube if you fancy watching the chat we did with Joe earlier on today. Actually, that will be out later this week, probably Thursday. You can get the podcast on all your normal platforms as well. That will be out Wednesday night. Follow us on socials if you fancy it at @WeAre_West Ham on Twitter. Just the usual places, really. Just search We Are West Ham podcast and you should find us.
Yeah, definitely recommend that, everybody. Great podcast. And also, Will, it's great to have you back on the show. Again, like I said, I think I said this off air. I can't remember if I said it off air. I think it's your 3rd time on Turfcast now. So if I did hat-trick balls like Soccer Aim used to, I could have given you a hat-trick ball, but unfortunately, the budget doesn't stretch to that.
No, exactly. Quite, mate. Quite. Well, as you know, and as I've said countless times, Burnley are one of our favourite football clubs in the whole of England other than West Ham. Me and my dad always had a rule that we have to go to Turf Moor every time we play you away. I haven't discussed it with him this time round, but I imagine I'll be up there again. Great place to go, great club, great fans. So it's always a pleasure to come on, mate.
Yeah, I don't understand why we get the stick we get sometimes. You've got the cricket club right there. It's just great for away. I've obviously never done the turf as an away fan, but I would imagine it's a good away day because you've got, like I said, the cricket. Everyone mingles really well.
I'll be honest, mate. Not really. It's just because my granddad who's passed away now used to drive up to Burnley for his job every single week, twice a week, delivering aeroplane parts. And and he just had a real affinity. He got to know some people up there who were to do with the club as well, bring shirts back and all that. And it just sort of came from that, really. It's kind of like an homage to my granddad, who's not with us anymore. That me and my dad always try and make the effort to go, kind of like a pilgrimage, really. But big, massive place in my heart, Burnley. So
yeah, happy days. Love that, mate. I'm sure everyone listening will. But Will, thank you for being on the show. I'm sure we will speak to you later in the season, but good luck for the rest of the season, of course, after the weekend. And if you do stay up, hopefully it's not at Burnley's expense, but fingers crossed we can both do it, mate.
Absolute pleasure. Cheers, Joe.